Hello and welcome once again to the Brink, the Brinkalicious, most awesomest podcast around, as we come to you for episode 25 of the rebooted, reformatted format. Imagine that, 25. What a nice round number, a quarter of a century, we're already there. So it's good to be back and good to bring you another Brinkalicious episode, because that's what we've got. We've got plenty to bring you. We've got all our regular guests we have on each week, as well as some classic segments and some classic interviews as well to really whet your appetite. And as always, we just take a little bit of a look at who's been listening to the show in the last week. Very much spread out, I can see here. A large proportion from good old Australia, from the US as well, and Italy. Monty, once again, they're showing their love for us, apparently. Notice that our High Noon, our spin-off lunchtime show that's available to listen to live on Edge Radio between 12 and 2 p.m. in Hobart, we made the top 25 iTunes charts back in April for High Noon. So that was in Italy. So clearly Italian listeners must really love my voice for some reason. I don't know why. I don't sound Italian at all. But nice spread outside of Hobart. I see Launceston tuned in. Sorry about all the jokes. I don't think we've made a Launceston joke in a while. So maybe we need to make a few of those. Like, what's the best thing to come out of Launceston? The road to Hobart. That's an old one, but hey, cool, I went with it. Sydney, Paran. We've got some listeners from all over the place. So g'day to all those in Australia. And special note to all those outside of this great country of ours. Another week of Brink goodness means another week of New Zealand goodness, because we have Nick Chester on the line from the land of the long white cloud. Nicholas Chester, welcome back to the Brink.
It's always a pleasure to be back talking with you.
And so it should be, because generally when I introduce you, I can hear sheep baaing in the background, and it makes me happy to think about those little lambs and how they must feel to have a New Zealander talking, right? I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. How's the week been? Have you done any more 22-kilometre hikes around your country?
No, just been keeping it pretty quiet this weekend. You know, you can't be out every weekend. We're just slowly watching Cyclone Donna roll its way over here, you know, so just we're back on Cyclone Watch again.
Another one.
Unbelievable. Yeah, this is like a Category 5, winds of up to 260 kilometres an hour. They reckon it'll probably actually not even get to us. It's probably going to pass over, but it's giving Vanuatu a bit of a hiding at the moment, and they reckon it might come this way, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't, basically.
How is New Zealand still, like, not blown away near America by now or something? I mean, you guys have just been battered to hell.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're called the Shaky Isles because we have lots of earthquakes, but we actually haven't touched wood. We actually haven't had any of them for a while. But yeah, I mean, we're getting a few storms at the moment, which isn't good. Right.
Well, we're going to do this tagline challenge we've been doing recently. We'll get to that. But I mean, I always like to, whack in the words New Zealand into Google News to kind of get a bit of an update, just so I can know what's happening from, over there. And sort of, John Oliver's been talking about you guys again, but we don't really know what it was yet, because neither of you and I have not watched the episode yet. There's rugby, the M&M thing, I think, still around. But I've just found one here, which this is kind of funny. It's a article from the BBC saying about a campaign group in New Zealand has turned the infamous staple of social media conversations, the poo emoji, to make its point to the government about its handling of the environment, and that protesters of the Action Station Group launched 50 inflatable poo emojis onto Lake Ohakuri on the Waikato River, near where the ruling National Party was holding a conference to highlight standards which says it would mean more contaminants in fresh water. Now, is this a thing that New Zealanders like to do, just inflate poo emojis and put it in the water?
I mean, it's not something I'm aware of, but I mean, surely they're not particularly happy about the plastic that was used to create those inflatable poo emojis. Seems to defeat the purpose a little bit. I mean, I'm all about the environment. I'm definitely a little bit of a greenie, but that one doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
No, I mean, wouldn't it just be easier for them to just poo in the river and just shape them into emojis or something?
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a bit of a thing about poo emojis. I was in some store the other day, and it was like, buy these pillows for your couch, and they're like emoji ones, and it was like $5 for this emoji shaped pillow for your couch, but they were mostly poo emojis. I'm not entirely sure why, but maybe those were the ones that weren't selling, so maybe we're not about the poo emoji. I don't know.
Maybe. I just love it's got here going on in the article. I love the name of your environment minister, because let's be honest, your environment minister has the most New Zealand sounding name in the world, that I'm going to say this in a New Zealand accent, Nook Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, Like, come on, New Zealand, you just don't make it hard for us to make fun of you, do you?
Yeah, he's been around a while as well, old Nick Smith.
Nick Smith. Like, that is just gold for Australians trying to do your accent. It's not like, John Maloney. It's, Nick Smith, the Environment Minister.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. No, we got some good names there, I think, that all have the good Kiwi sounding name. I always quite like well, I quite like one of our big rugby players over here, and his name's Israel Dag, which I think Israel is the least Kiwi name I can think of, and Dag has to be like the most Kiwi surname ever. So it's like the two opposite things kind of smashing together in one person's name. It's pretty awesome.
Israel Dag. Oh my goodness, we love New Zealand. All right, I feel like we need to get. I'm really liking this tagline challenge. So people, if you're tuning in, you haven't heard this before. Basically, Nick's gets some taglines from movie posters, and he's got to read them out to me. And I've got to try and guess the movie. And we've sort of established that he's got to give me 5 each week. I've got to try and get 3, and I'm allowed to have 2 clues at any given point. And what was the other one we established that I was allowed? Well, 3 guesses. I'm only allowed to have 3 guesses at any given one. And
that's right.
And I'm not Googling anything. Don't worry, I'm not cheating. So, all right, Nick, hit me with your best shot.
Well, I'm actually going to completely sideswipe you here. You're not expecting this, but we're actually going to take on some TV show taglines.
Oh, okay then.
So it's the same rules apply, but it's actually for a TV show. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how you go with this.
Shortland Street.
No, Shortland Street's not on there.
Damn it!
Thank God.
It was the tagline for that one. Yes, it is his penis. Shortland Street, weeknights from 7:00.
Or worst acting ever.
Yeah, that one works well. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, what am I going to start with? I'm just trying to find a good one. Okay, so... Oh, there are so many good ones. I just don't even know where to start. Okay, so let's start with Escape is Just the Beginning.
I think I've heard that one before. That's like... Prison Break?
Yep. Well done.
All right.
Okay. Everybody Has Secrets.
Oh, that's like a CSI show, surely. Everybody. Or some sort of crime show. Oh, look, I'm gonna go with my first inkling. I'm gonna say CSI, and given that there's been 30,000 of them, I'm gonna go with the original, the Las Vegas one.
No.
All right, we'll go with CSI.
It's not CSI. So
okay, all right.
You out there,
all right, you've been helpful there. Everybody has secrets. Everybody, body. Bones?
Yes.
Oh! Wow, that was... Okay.
Okay, so this one might be a little bit left field. I don't know if you're a fan or not. So what you don't understand can kill you. This is hard. This is a hard one.
You don't understand... Can or can't kill you?
Can kill you.
You don't understand can kill you. The X-Files?
No. Good guess, though.
Supernatural?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Get out.
Yeah.
I've never watched that show in my life. I'm just thinking of that theme of, X-Files, what you don't... Okay, wow. Shit. I'm pulling these ones up from my ass right now.
Oh, no, no, I'm not giving you that one because it's too easy and you'll know it. But
I'll just say, don't count it. I want to know what it is.
All right, okay. If you think you know what's next, you don't know Jack.
Oh, it's got to be 24.
Yeah. I can't believe that's the actual tagline for that one.
Because Jack is the show. That's why 24 Legacy was shit this year, because Jack Bauer's not in it.
Okay, so are you ready for more?
Roger Moore, James Bond. Sorry, it just reminds me of the old cheesy James Bond trailers. Are you ready for more?
I forgot about him.
Yeah, was it the man with the golden gun? More action, more adventure, more Roger Moore. What was the tagline again? I'm thinking about Roger Moore now.
Are you ready for more?
I'm going to need a clue on this one, I feel.
It's a New York TV show. Famous New York TV show.
Seinfeld.
No.
Friends.
No.
The Sopranos.
No.
Okay, I'm out.
So That was Sex and the City.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, one of my favourites. Oh.
Yeah, I knew it would be. So, what's going to be our final one here? Okay. Every superhero has a beginning.
Smallville.
Yeah. I wondered if you would either. I knew you'd either like know that one straight away or not at all.
Well, it's got to be Smallville. I mean, I was thinking maybe Gotham slightly, but it's not really based around Batman, more around Gotham City. Whereas, that's got to be Superman. So, okay, I like the TV ones.
4 out of 5. Yeah.
Does it have The Tribe Has Spoken?
No, it didn't have Survivor on there. I'll have to do a bit more digging and find some more of them.
Right, okay. Well, look, I like this segment. You know, maybe there can be more, like Roger Moore. I don't know where we're going with that. Nick, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for your company, and hopefully you will be here next week and not blown away.
I really hope so.
Time to flash back and give you another classic performance. Going back to the year 2012, we had a songwriter band in studio called Kikuyu. That is a name that I've probably mispronounced, but hey, it's been 5 years since this, people. Just give me some slack. This song was called Summer Helicopter, and the unique thing about this, I remember her performing this live. She had this epic little Duvalaki machine. I don't even know what it was, but it had buttons galore, synthesizer, beats, and it was an incredible instrument. And you can hear basically from this performance that there's a wide variety of different sounds in this clip, and this is all by one singer-songwriter. So there you go. Here's Kikuyu, Summer Helicopter, performed on the Brink Live back in 2012. Enjoy.
They swoop in, rustle our back garden like a wartime jungle. And although we know it's an emergency, we're calm. And although we feel sadness that someone else is ill, it's familiar. It's familiar. It's familiar. The moon above the hospital rises hopefully. As the blades go round, and although we know it's an emergency, we're calm. And although we feel sadness that someone else is ill, it's familiar. It's familiar. It's familiar. Taking off again, taking off again overhead. An enormous sound, taking off again.
It's another week of Dakoda Leary. Hello, Dakoda.
Hello, Ben.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
That's good.
How are you?
Look, I'm decent. I'm alive. I'm breathing.
Oh, yeah?
That's, I guess that's a good thing, right?
I don't know. It depends on how you look at it.
True. I mean, you could be, I was going to say depressed, but that's kind of a sad way of looking at it. I don't want to start talking about that kind of stuff. That's a bit mean, isn't it?
Could be in jail or something.
Well, you could be. You could be, indeed.
That's what I meant.
Well, if I was in jail, I don't think I'd be doing this episode. But hey, look,
Well, you never know.
I'm sure there are podcast hosts in jail. I mean,
I'm sure there are, yeah.
not sure. How's the week been in Dakotaville?
Pretty alright.
Yeah?
Haven't done much. Just been playing GTA all week, really.
Well, you mentioned that to me just off air.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a huge GTA fan. Massive GTA fan. So I'm guessing this is obviously GTA 5, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's your favourite? Are you a Franklin man? Are you a Michael man? Or are you a Trevor man?
I love Trevor. He's great.
So are you Trevor right now as we speak?
I am being Trevor right now, yeah.
Now take us through. What are you doing? Are you doing missions? Are you just going around Los Santos being Trevor? What are you doing?
Well, I only just recently got the game on Xbox One, because I had it on Xbox 360 before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just replaying the game, the story mode.
It's fun, isn't it? Like, I did that when I got it on PS4. Like, obviously completed it on PS3. But do you take advantage of the first-person mode at all?
I've been playing the first-person mode the whole time, so I love it.
Something a bit unique, isn't there, about walking around streets with a gun and a hatchet and just, being Trevor, I guess, isn't there?
Oh, it's great. I noticed how, so each character has their own walk, obviously.
Yeah.
You can even tell that in, first-person mode, and it's great. I love it.
So you do? Okay, well, so I really like Franklin. He was always my favourite character. And
you're right.
So did you complete the game on Xbox 360 so you know how it ends?
Yes, I do.
Okay, right. I just wanted to ask that before I ask the next question because I don't want to spoil it. Anybody out there who perhaps has never finished Grand Theft Auto 5, do not listen to this following bit because I will spoil it. What did you do when did you kill Michael? Did you kill Trevor, or did you go the third option where all three of them survive?
I went all three.
Right. See, when I first played it, because I didn't read any spoilers or any walkthroughs or anything, so that third option, I thought Franklin would die. So I'm like, well, I don't want Franklin to die. So I'm kind of like, do I want Michael or Trevor to die? And I actually killed off Trevor. So the first time I played it around, after I finished the game, I couldn't play as Trevor anymore. So
you see, I thought Franklin would die.
Oh, so you wanted him dead? All right.
Yeah. No, black guy always dies first.
Good call. But yeah, I finished it on PS4 and of course chose the third route so I could have all three of them. Do you then go and try and complete it 100%, or do you just then play it for shits and giggles from that point on?
I just play it for shits and gigs.
Yep, shits and gigs. Do you play it online at all?
Yeah. I don't have anyone to play it with. It's the only problem. It's better when you have a gang to do heists and stuff.
That sounds so sad, Dakoda. I don't have anyone to play it with. I'd play it with you, but we have different systems, so...
Oh. It'd be good if it was cross-console.
Some games are, aren't they? There are some games that allow you to do it.
There's a game coming out soon called Sea of Thieves, and it's like a pirate simulator, and it's cross-console.
I just think it would be, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess I'm in the same boat. I play it online every now and then, but I don't have any friends. So, clearly the one friend I have who's on the phone with me right now, he's only got an Xbox, so it's...
and he's 15.
And, 15. So how did you buy the game, Dakoda? You're under 18, so...
I just put on, a serious face, looked like I was meant to be there. And
do you remember when we talked about it on the show, back when Target initially banned it when they re-released it? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was a good conversation.
Now, just to kind of go back onto what that was all being talked about, have you raped many people in this game, Dakoda? I mean, clearly, because that's what everyone thought you could do in it.
No, you can't rape anyone.
Exactly.
In the game, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. Just for people who might have no idea what we're talking about, I remember we were on air and it had just been re-released for PS4 and Xbox One, and the Target basically had banned it because there was feminine groups claiming that you could rape people in it, and basically came up with all these false allegations. of this game. And then there were people at the time who were saying like, oh, well, you should ban the Bible from Target and you should ban Mario from Target because it's offensive to plumbers from Italy. So
Wonderful.
I don't think they ever did that, but anyway, look, we haven't done this in a couple of weeks. I feel the need to play this. Ben and Dakoda get angry. Ben and Dakoda. Jesus, that glass always gets me.
It always misses me.
Yeah, well, you're pretty safe there in Chigwell. That's a sentence that's never usually uttered that often.
From glass in Chigwell, doubtful.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first, or?
You know what makes me angry, Ben?
Not much. That didn't really sound very angry, but sure.
Drivers.
Drivers.
I had a guy, like, on the highway, and, slip lanes,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was, like, 10 kilometres behind me, and he sped up just to get in front of me, and he cut me off, and I was... Ugh.
You know what makes me angry?
What?
The same thing that you just said. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate the slip lane, and it makes me angry. Just stop being an impatient shithead and get behind the line.
I know. Ugh.
Cool. That's all that makes you angry?
That's all. As I said, I've just been playing GTA all week.
You sound so mellow. You sound so relaxed.
To get me angry.
For somebody playing Grand Theft Auto right now, you're just like, yeah, you know what makes me angry? Slip lanes.
No, shooting people in the head just relaxes me a bit, I guess.
You know what makes me angry?
What?
People who you're messaging and then you're having a great conversation, then all of a sudden they just stop messaging you after like reading your last message for no reason, and then they don't write back to you. That's just rude.
Oh, are we talking about someone in particular?
Just in general. Just, it happens a lot because people just like to stop talking to me. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what makes me angry?
You know what makes me angry?
Oh, no. You go, please, you go. I interrupted you. I thought you didn't have anything, but yes, you go.
Group things on Facebook.
Yes.
Because they go off all the time and it annoys me.
Yes. You know what makes me angry?
What?
Facebook. Just imagine where we were 10 years ago without this. Like, we had MySpace and shit, but this controls our lives. Do we not realise it? I mean, it's great, but at the same time, you're too young to remember what it was like before Facebook. It makes me angry sometimes, but it's also good.
It's alright. It doesn't control my life. I think I go on it like twice a day.
Well, you need to teach me this thing. Maybe it's just, you're a digital native, basically grown up with all this stuff. To me, it's come into my life halfway through, and I just don't know what to do with it.
Just don't go on it.
Well, that's kind of the obvious one. You know what also makes me angry? Sorry if I stepped in. I thought you might have not had more, but that people take down Kevin Bacon pictures in radio studios. Like, fuck you, person. I couldn't say this on air last week on High Noon, 12 to 2 p.m. on Edge Radios each week, because I'm not allowed to say fuck you on Edge Radio, but I can say fuck you on the Brink, so whoever took down the picture of Kevin Bacon, fuck you! I'm going to print out another picture today at the time of recording this, because we've got the show tomorrow with the premiere coming on, and that's a big thing, so fuck you!
Wow. That was alright. I like that.
Well, what harm is it doing, Dakoda? It's a photo of Kevin Bacon. Well, what harm? How does that annoy someone coming into the studio at Edge? I haven't put a picture up of a naked woman or a picture of some idiot like fucking Ryan Gosling or something. It's Kevin Bacon!
I had nothing to respond. That was brilliant.
I just needed to get that out of my system.
Yeah, I can't even. Nah. You can have that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean,
turn you up. I can't hear you. Right.
I'm an old man, so I've got lots of stuff to complain about. But it just, are you going to miss me in a couple of weeks? Like, I'm going to be away for 7 weeks. But I mean, I'll try and do a Brink segment with you if I can work the time difference out with you and I'm available. But you're not going to have High Noon for 7 weeks. You might not have this for 7 weeks. I expect at the end of this 7 weeks, you've got a lot of stuff to be angry about.
Oh, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to vent all my frustrations.
You might be at uni by then, Dakoda. I don't know. When do you actually start uni?
I start, I think mid-July.
Ooh, so I get back just before you start then. Interesting.
Yeah, yay.
Wow.
I'll try and, put my schedule so we can still do, High Noon.
Well, you should. And if you don't, then I'll have words to you, Taz, because you know what makes me angry?
What?
You, Taz! Just stop being yourselves. You're stupid.
Well, they can't be anything else, can they?
Well, they could be. There could be a better university.
It's Ben. Stop being Ben. Be someone else.
Hello, I'm Benita.
Oh.
How are you? You said to be someone else. I mean,
Yeah, but Benita's not who I had in mind.
Who would you like me to be, Dakoda? Who? If I could be anyone, who would you want me to be?
Well, I've got a friend who hasn't got a dad, so...
Oh, well,
his dad.
he or she, how old are they?
15.
Is it a he or a she?
Not sure.
You
Don't want to assume their gender, you know?
Well, I mean, if you were to sway one way or the other...
Okay, I'd sway more towards guy.
All right, well, look, I can do that. I can be a dad, sure,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
What's a dad thing that we can do? Like, watch the footy?
I don't know.
Teach him about...
Play catch.
Play catch. We're Americans. I'm an American dad. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Well, look, it's always a pleasure, Dakoda.
I'm sure it is.
We will do one more of these at least next week before I am on a plane, and we'll, I guess, talk a little bit more about that next week. But enjoy GTA and enjoy killing people.
I shall. It's my favourite thing.
I'm going to bring you a bit of a special clip here. We had the Premier of Tasmania, Will Hodgman, on High Noon, 12 to 2 p.m. on Edge Radio 99.3 FM in Hobart every Friday last week. And always a fun chat with the Premier. Good to have him back on a show of ours. Of course, he was a regular guest on the Brink throughout the years. And we had to debut the High Noon 40. It wasn't a debut. We've obviously had these High Noon 40 questions going since High Noon began back in January. But the debut of them to the Premier of Tasmania. This is how we answered the High Noon 40, and pay particular note at the end when he finally revealed some feelings about a certain person that we'd been ripping shit into a lot on High Noon. Let's get to these High Noon 40. Will Hodgman, now you remember, of course, our famous 5 we used to ask,
yes.
Which, of course, you know, you are still haunted by. You a folder or a scruncher and all this
It's going to be
stuff.
8 times worse, you're telling me.
Well, these are random. These are, look, I don't even know what I'm going to ask you because it's all down to you and your numbers. Even, Sam, you're going to get these at the end of the show too because you've never faced these either.
Oh,
so
good. I look forward to that.
Keep an ear out for these. Now, I've got 40 numbers here. You need to give me 5. Not all at once. I'll get you to give me one at a time. So give me a number right now. Premier of Tasmania, Will Hodgman, between 1 and 5.
3.
Number 3. This has only ever been asked once before, so here we go. On a scale of 1 to 10, how intolerable do you find baby pictures on Facebook?
10.
10. Yes. Good answer. Another number.
Between
1 and 40.
I'm going to go 20.
20. How many hours after getting paid does it take you to spend your entire paycheck?
Oh, yeah, not long these days with 3 kids and...
It's out. Done. Do you not have like people that you can send off to do your bidding? Like, I mean, I think I've talked to you about this before about your security and all that sort of stuff, which you've come in today, like with lots of security, Ben. Don't give people out their ideas. Do you have people to go out and do the shopping
No,
for you? Or?
and I love cooking, hence the invitation to go on the cooking show. And I was in the supermarket a couple of weeks ago getting dinner for Nikki and I, and a bloke said to me, only you'd go grocery shopping in a suit. Like I'd gone home and thought, right, I'll just slip into the pinstripe suit and pop down to the supermarket. I was literally on my way home. But so I do love shopping, and it's always a fascinating experience, the people you meet. And
I was going to say, it must be fascinating just bumping into people who say things like that.
well, I think people think we're an alien species and they're surprised to see me. So it's whatever they first think in their heads, they blurt out. And often it sounds a little weird. But no, I love doing all that sort of stuff and trying to be as normal as I can. But
there was a woman at the football the other day at the Kangaroos game in her pyjamas.
Right.
They were Kangaroos pyjamas,
Yep.
I guess. So
yeah, I've got a Geelong onesie. I might slip into that.
well,
one.
hey,
Pop
next
into
time
that.
I want to see you in the
Not a great
Ugg
look, but-
boots.
Ugg boots.
A lot of people go shopping in Ugg boots.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next number. Give us another number between 1 and 40.
I'm going to go Patrick Dangerfield, 35.
35.
Ooh, I like that.
And
Like that.
Can I just point out, this has never been asked before on this show.
That's
Will
the way I
Hodgman,
like
you've
it.
chosen a rare one. I don't even know how you're going to answer this one. Do you think Zac Efron is really nice in real life, or does he just walk around with his abs out telling people to go fetch him vegetables?
I'm sure he's a lovely bloke.
When the word Zac Efron was uttered, Will's face bunched up like, what? Zac Efron?
I just can't believe I asked a question to the Premier of Tasmania about Zac Efron and his abs.
I think
All
it's
right.
unfair to judge. So, I'm sure he's wonderful.
Nice guy.
Top bloke.
Absolutely. Second last number, another number between 1 and 40.
Let me go 6.
Number 6, my age. Not really. How many days have you gone without showering?
None.
None.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm a sort of obsessive
Generally-
compulsive type.
That's good.
Look,
politicians tend to not shower. Like,
that is not
I mean,
true.
they shower.
He's saying politicians smell.
Let me stop.
I've never heard. People have said all sorts of stuff about us. I've never heard that before.
I think, what did I tell you say last time you were on the show? What did I said
Look, you just need to
Yeah.
Will doesn't want you to vote for him now.
I'm sure, to be honest, I need to correct the record. Whenever you think you might have said something that's not true, you need to instantly correct the record or you've got to resign. So, look, there would have been times when I've gone camping, bushwalking, but very, very rare. If it's just me getting out and about, doing the usual stuff, it's at least twice a day.
Straight into the Geelong onesie.
Yeah.
Twice a day?
Yeah. Obsessive-compulsive sort of territory.
Nothing
for
wrong
me.
with twice a day, Dakoda. Come on. Final question. Last one.
least.
Last one. Last number.
Oh, sorry.
Happens.
Right, pick a number. Where was I? I'm going to go...
I'm Ben. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just taking the rare opportunity to switch off for a little while.
Yep.
I'll go Gary Ablett at 5.
Number 5. People do it all the time on this show. They're switching off right now. I switched off an hour ago when we were singing. Wow. This is... Wow. I definitely think people would get arrested for this. Who would you let punch you directly in the face? Why would anybody want to get... Why not? Who would you let punch you directly in the face?
I've had it happen, so... yeah.
Same.
Not...
Okay.
I mean, I'll be the
I
premier
haven't let somebody hit me in the face, but I have been hit in the face. All right. Look, I think it'd probably be... I think Joe Cornish.
Oh, wow. That would... Like, we could set up a celebrity boxing match there. I think that would work out
She
well.
can hit me in the face anytime.
Well, can I just quickly say, to close this out, one person I would like to see you punch in the face, that is somebody who had a bit of running recently, Tony Cochran, our dear friend CEO of the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
We have a long-running thing after all that happened the other week here, Will, that we're just basically calling him a douche. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Club.
Well, you can if you please call him a douche. Do you want to join
I have, basically, yeah.
Can you utter the phrase for me, Tony Cochran is a douche?
Tony Cochran is a douche.
Thank you. Premier seal of approval. Will Hodgman, done and dusted. Tony Cochran, of course, the CEO of the Gold Coast Suns, and he's a douche. He's a fucking douche. I can say that on this, and I can't say that on High Noon. But if you want to hear more of that Will Hodgman interview, head to the Edge Radio page, click on the program guide, and you can find High Noon there on the Friday between 12 and 2 slot. You can hear the whole interview, of course, with the Premier of Tasmania, or you can subscribe to High Noon on iTunes as well. We do put it up as a podcast, so plenty of options for you to be able to listen to the show that I guess was born from the Brink and is a current version of us being on Edge Radio from what this used to be very similar to. Let's go into a time machine by pressing this.
This is like a flashback. This is like a dream.
Flashback. Let's go back to 2007, 10 years ago to be precise. What a year 2007 was. People will remember it as the year Geelong finally broke their premiership drought in the AFL. My Anaheim Ducks won their very first Stanley Cup in the NHL and are very close perhaps to going towards another one. You'll hear about that soon when we get talking to Colin Hilding. But it was also the year that John Howard, that's his name, I kind of forgot. He was still Prime Minister of Australia. Wow, it has been 10 years. And he eventually got done by a certain person called Kevin Rudd. But he used to be a bit of a regular guest on our show in a certain context. So let's go back to 2007 and here's some highlights from the then Prime Minister John Howard's appearances on The Brink.
Here's Johnny.
John Howard, how are you? Back again for another edition, another episode, another
Shut up,
interview.
you audience.
What's wrong with you this morning, Prime Minister?
It's not a good mood I'm in, Anthony.
Why? Because we had a Labor politician on the show.
I'm angry, Anthony. Why did you have him on the show and not have me in the studio at the same time? That's one thing up my goat. And other things are up my goat, you know. The Sony Music won't release my single.
You mean Sony?
I'm finished, Anthony. Don't interrupt me. The other song I sang last week, nobody liked it. I got lost more points in the polls because of it. And
well, it wasn't very
I
good.
haven't finished, Anthony. Don't interrupt me. I'm not in the mood to be interrupted this morning. And also, you know, Jeanette She's not happy with me this week, you know.
Having some issues, are you at
That's
home?
personal, Anthony. She's not happy with me because I took her iPod instead of mine. And she got stuck with listening to a bit of Kanye West and a bit of Eminem and a bit of Snoop Dogg. And I got stuck with listening to, you know, a bit of the Beatles and the Bee Gees and all that sort of boring old fogey music, Anthony. I just didn't like it. It was not, you know, I'm just not a happy camper this week, Anthony, you know, and I kept my my promise by coming in here, but look.
Are you in a singing mood today?
No,
or,
I'm not singing.
So you wouldn't do a duet with them?
No. Oh, well, look, I would have if I was asking the time, but no, you people didn't want me. This chair's still a bit uncomfortable. What have you done?
You know what? I gave you a cushion.
No.
I gave you a back padding thing.
Well, look,
what more do you want?
I'm old, okay, Anthony. I need my posterior
How old are you
support.
again? 68?
I'm 68.
Oh,
I'm not as young as I used to be back in my day. Anyway, yeah, get on with the interview. Thanks, Anthony. That was
So, Mr. Howard, this week has been a bit of a toughie, hey? With challenges to debates, challenges to calling an early election. What do you have to say to that?
To me, it's all whinge. I mean, that's all I ever get, you know. I mean, just because I'm the Prime Minister, everyone expects me to do everything, you know.
Well, you are the Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, what about me, Anthony? When do I get time for myself, you know? I mean, it's all well and good for...
When you retire.
Well, no, Anthony, no, alright? Everyone else out there who has a job, they get holidays, they get time off, they get to spend time with their family, and I mean, what about me?
What about you?
I like to go to Noosa for the weekend, and I like to chill out with me homeboys when I get the chance, but I don't get the chance because it's ASA, or what's that thing? APEC. That's it. APEC. And then, you know, I've got
what did you say before,
the
Ben?
economy, and the election, and there's more poverty. That's all I ever get, and I'm sick of it, Anthony.
Well, you were elected to be Prime Minister.
Oh, look, that was 11 years ago. I was young, I was stupid. I mean, back in my day, I thought it was a cool thing to do. It's not going too well, I'll be honest with you, but look, I'm doing the best I can, and I know that Mr. Rudd's going on Rove this Sunday night, and a lot of people are asking if I'm going to go on Rove, but no, I'm not going to go on Rove. I'd rather stick to the real people, which is you, Ben, and Anthony, who's not here. I'm not very happy that he's not here, actually, Ben, because he hurts my feelings, he intimidates me, and I think it's a lot better that you're here by yourself, or with Angie in the audience, and I just thought I'd say that. Well, thank you, Mr. Howard, for your ultimate waves of support there. I don't know really what to say with that. With Kevin Rudd going on Rove, why are you not going on Rove? I mean, he targeted you 3 years ago and you never went on. You're not going to bow down to the pressure this time as well? Oh, Ben, no, look, it's a bit of silly stuff that Mr. McManus goes on about, you know. I think he's a bit childish, and if Kevin Rudd wants to go on that, you know, fair enough. As I said, I'll stick to the real shows, the real journalists like yourself, Ben, and 60 Minutes, and what's that other show that I like to go on? Big Brother Up Late, Mr. Prime Minister. That's not really a professional show. Oh, I love Big Brother Up Late. That Gretel Colin, she's a fox. Like to go on that show. Well, she's not the host of Big Brother anymore, Mr. Prime Minister, and Big Brother is actually on air anymore, so you're a bit screwed in that sense. Oh, well, look, I'll just go on Play School. Look, you know, it spices things up. I think the election between me and Ruddy would have been a bit, you know, more exciting. It would have been a bit language. The kiddies would have gotten into it, you know.
Oh, yes.
Me mofos would have joined in. Me posse, you know. Yo, I'm Jay Howard. Yo.
Yo.
You know what Pico said to me?
What?
You know what he said to me?
No.
He wants me to give him the prime ministerialship now. It's a bit early, isn't it?
Ship, not sh...
I said ship, Anthony.
Good.
P with the P. Don't try and put words in my mouth. I hear you're taking over the show for the last little bit.
I am, which
You're
is
not doing
exciting.
a good job at the moment. You're not really paying attention to me. You're looking at this me space. It's not good, Anthony. I think that the audience of Hobart needs your full support and attention.
Oh, well, anyway, moving along.
Yes, Ben, how are you? Oh, Mr. Howard, I'm alright. How are you? Oh, Ben, I'm like that because it's the way it is. The kids like that joke, Anthony. Oh, Ben, sorry.
'Cause that's the way it
You were
is.
talking to that Cornelia Francis before.
Yes, we were. She's
a
very
bit of a-
exciting. Have you
she's
met
a
her?
fox, isn't she?
She's your ex, isn't she?
Oh, shush, Anthony, not an air. We talked about that in private, please.
Now, he does sound slightly different to that. I don't know. Some people say that was me impersonating him, but I like to say that they're full of shit. Another week where we can talk about all things to do with this man. It's Paul Luttrell. Paul, welcome back to The Brink.
Yeah, good to be here.
It's, of course, the point where we generally talk about Trump as well, and, well, he doesn't disappoint us again. He's in the news. It's been 100 days of him, and now into his next 100 days, he's firing people. He's kind of getting back into his role as the apprentice. He's fired the FBI director, James Comey, and this is obviously quite a bit of an interesting thing that he's done, considering that he was James Comey was looking into these allegations about Trump and Russia. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, this is Corruption 101. This is straight out of the Dictator's Handbook. This is a few steps short of murdering journalists who look into your corruption or whatever. But yeah, Comey obviously heading the investigation into the collusion between the Trump administration and Russia. He's now been fired, and you can guess now that they're probably going to hire someone who is not going to follow up the investigation, someone who is a bit of a stooge for the Trump administration to fill his shoes. It all seems very, very, just a bit wrong. I think, if anything, though, with the Trump administration, we're seeing just how broken the American system is when you can pull things like this off legally.
Yeah.
There needs to be some kind of separation between the people who are investigating people in power and the people and who actually appoints those people.
Well,
and not the people who appoint those people.
I was going to ask, can he do this? Like, is this something that the president can generally do?
I guess so. I guess we're seeing that it is so.
It's crazy because, you would think that, especially when he's investigating Trump, it just seems so sus because, like, as you kind of just said, I'm guessing now they're going to employ someone who's like, oh, no, Trump and Russia don't know what you're talking about. To turn a blind eye to it. I mean, you might get the job here, Paul. Maybe not. You probably would look into this, but I don't know. Like, it's kind of, are they actually going to hire someone within the FBI?
It doesn't sound like they are. I think they've been into some of the Trump surrogates, like, to actually head up the FBI, like Rudy Giuliani and Christie.
Wow.
So it's the biggest, like, kiss asses in the Trump administration, like, during the campaign.
That is crazy because, you would assume that something that important running the FBI would, I guess it kind of fits in well with the fact that something that important running the country, you can just get somebody who has no experience with this sort of stuff. But this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's it seems like it's almost out of like a dystopian novel or something at the moment. You wouldn't. It's so weird when it first happened as well. I was just thinking, this is really, really strange, and then you kind of put two and two together and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see why he's done it. But to have the balls to actually do it, like, it's such an obvious move of, this guy's investigating me, better get rid of him. It's a Godfather move. And
wasn't one of the complaints or something, because Trump famously said that, as soon as he gets in office, he will arrest Hillary Clinton for these emails. And wasn't a lot of this also to do with the fact that they hadn't prosecuted Hillary Clinton? Yeah, I guess so. But when Comey actually broke the news of they were reopening the investigation into Hillary, Trump was like his biggest supporter. He was like biggest fan, saying, yeah, he had the courage, to do it. It's at this time and whatever. I commend him on that. It takes bravery and whatever. Now they're giving that as the reason why they're firing him. They're saying that in the actual letter that they provided him with, they're saying that they didn't like the way that he handled the Clinton, like the reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton.
on the campaign trail, they were praising it. They were saying it was great. Ridiculous.
Well, because I mean, they're basically saying that the fact that they reopened the Hillary thing, just in the days leading up to the election, that's the Democrats at least are claiming that that's what cost them the election. But it's just, I mean, it just sums up Trump in so many ways. And I mean, look, I was watching the news with my dad when this is on, and my dad doesn't generally say a lot when it comes to Trump. He just doesn't really have much of an opinion on it, I guess. But even he's saying like, "Holy crap! Like that's ridiculous." Like surely he can't do that.
Yeah, we shouldn't be able to. I'm hoping that in the future they actually put policies in place that separates, the people in power from appointing these people who are investigators. This would be it's very similar to Russia in how they basically have a state-sponsored media.
Yeah.
But are the only kind of institution with access to the actual the government, and so there's no real investigation. There's no investigative journalism. It's all kind of propaganda. It's a propaganda machine essentially. But this is kind of on a whole other level, really, because you've basically got these people who are law officials who are digging into these things and basically now I think it sends a message like, if you look into me, I'm going to fire you. Your career's going to be ruined or whatever, essentially. So
I mean, if something happens in terms of impeachment, because I mean that's kind of what everybody's hoping for, but can then Trump fire the people who are about to impeach him or something? I mean, is this kind of just he's abusing these powers that technically he can do, but it's just nobody does them because, as you said, it's sort of a bit dictatory for somebody to actually use the powers that they've actually got.
Yeah. Well, for impeachment, I think it's Congress that actually decides on the impeachment, right, and then someone else obviously, carries it out. But I don't think you can fire democratically elected officials, positions within his cabinet or whatever, if any of them are. But he can't completely get rid of them from Congress or whatever.
I just can't get over that they can appoint the head of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They can basically hire someone who's not within that organisation. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, imagine if you were an FBI agent who had been, working through the ranks, and kind of your goal is to one day be the, the head of the organisation, and you're kind of that, I guess, second in control or whatever what top rank you can get to within the organisation, only to find out that, former mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani, is going to come in and take over. I mean, it's a real bummer. That kind of is just, I feel for all these FBI agents who I guess have worked their way to the top only to be told, no, sorry, we're just going to get in a random person to take that job.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why careerist politicians get qualified somehow to do all of these really specific jobs. Like what does Rudy Giuliani know about investigating corruption or anything like that? I mean, the guy was the mayor of New York. He seems like a complete moron. The same with Chris Christie. I mean, these are careerist politicians. Yes, they might be specialists at kissing ass, but they don't know squat about these other kind of individual and specific professions. Yeah,
and if we know anything about specialists, Paul, when it comes to the FBI, when it comes to our circles of Survivor fandom, it's not exactly a good fit, is it? Where's Philip Shepard's phone call to become the head of the FBI?
Yeah, maybe he's probably third on the list behind the other disease.
Look, I'd be down for that. I would be.
Yeah.
Giving everybody a stealth R-Us nickname in the entire country. I mean, why not? Wow. I mean, it's so crazy. It still just really does seem like this isn't real life. And again, look, you and I aren't even American, and here we are. We're just we're so entranced by kind of everything that's happening with this. I mean, I guess it's a world thing. So wow. I mean, what's next? Who next is he going to fire? Is he just taking literally this apprentice role that he's had so long? Is he taking it too literally now?
Possibly. I think he just, he was... he missed his catchphrase a little bit from The Apprentice. You're fired.
Well, we saw the letter that I kind of think got sent out. I am disappointed that he didn't hold a press conference and was like, James Comey, you're fired. You're terrible. You're done. I'm going to find a better FBI director. He's going to be the best we've ever had. No one's going to be better than him.
Yeah. You're fake news. No, that's not...
Sad.
Yeah, tremendous.
Well, they kept showing the footage of when he was at the White House and when Trump was saying, like, I think this guy's more famous than I am. Like, I mean,
yeah,
that's Donald Trump saying that. Like, the guy assumes he's, like, bigger than God, so...
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous, but, yeah, I'm not sure who else is, really opposing him at the moment, that he has the power to fire, but I think he's doing his best to try and discredit anyone who opposes him, so... Yeah.
I am going to keep an eye on this, because next week when we get you back on, it might be sort of the last week we get to chat to you for about 7 weeks while I'm away over there living up with Mr. Trump. So, maybe we'll come up with some plans for me what to do so I don't get fired or something along those lines. Or maybe I'll end up getting hired. Maybe it'll be the opposite.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? You are the greatest podcast. There's never been a better podcast host than you have been.
What position do you think you'd be best suited for?
Oh, look, director of the FBI, why not? I mean, it clearly seems... Yeah. I watched The X-Files. I felt like I was a special agent with Mulder and Scully. I actually used to have a fake FBI badge that I wore around high school because I thought I was Mulder. So, I've got about as much experience as Rudolph Giuliani, so...
Or you could just take up smoking and whatever and stand in the corner of rooms all ominously and whatever.
As long as I get the cool jacket, the blue jacket with the yellow FBI letters on the back of it, I'm down.
Yeah.
So, I'll keep you posted. I'll get my resume in order. Paul, it's always fun. We'll chat to you next week.
Yeah, it's been good.
I get most excited when I get to hear this.
That time of the week to play everybody's favorite game show. It's Forget the Lyrics here on the Brink on Edge Radio. Over to the studio.
Forget the Lyrics. Oh my goodness, how excited it is for this. We are going back to the year 2014 to hear myself and Stewie sing. Now, we heard us sing a couple of weeks ago, I feel, and a big hello to Stewie. I know he's a regular listener to our Brink podcast. We'll have to do some more segments with you, Stewie, sometime at some point. But this is 2014. The song is YMCA by, of course, the Village People. And Stewie and I are going to sing, as you will hear, about pseudoscience. And, of course, I'm not very smart, so Stewie is. And he knows a lot about pseudoscience, and I don't generally know what the hell it was. As you can hear me in the background, just still throwing things around because I get confused about what on earth pseudoscience actually is / was, or whatever you want to say. So let's hear how this went. I'll stop throwing stuff around in the background. Here's Ben, that's me, and Stewie, that's the guy singing with me, singing about pseudoscience to YMCA.
I am probably one of the first times I've no idea what I'm singing about. Stewie told me to sing about pseudoscience. I looked at him and said, what's that? He said it's things masquerading as science, such as religion. Bacon is something we haven't mentioned today. It's got nothing to do with pseudoscience. At least I don't know. Maybe it does. Stewie hasn't told me. It's fun to talk about pseudoscience. It's fun to talk about pseudoscience. It's a subject that Ben doesn't know what the hell it's all about. Pseudoscience. I really don't know about pseudoscience. Could have told me to sing about Britney Spears. Stewie, it's over to you. Now go.
Yeah, pseudoscience is not going to convince me that God is really real, because I say science tells me that we came from the Big Bang. No pseudoscience person does it all by himself. I said pseudoscience, put the pride on the shelf and just go there to pseudoscience. today. It's fun to talk about pseudoscience. It's fun to talk about pseudoscience. They don't have everything figured out for you to believe. You can hang out with all the priests. It's fun to talk about pseudoscience. Fun to talk about science. You can get yourself pseudoscience when you have a good book. You can talk about what you feel with young scientists. Yeah, young scientists.
Yeah, I still don't think I got any education from it, so perhaps we will get Stewie on once again just to explain the excitement that is pseudoscience, because it seems like there might be some sort of, I guess, excitement levels around what on earth it is, or perhaps, knowing Stewie, he can make it exciting. Stewie can make anything exciting, so there you go, Stewie, there's your challenge. Make pseudoscience exciting again, just like Trump does. It's another week of talking all things Canadian with Canada's #1 resident, Mr. Colin Hilding. Colin, welcome back to another episode of The Brink.
Thank you for having me back, and thank you for moving me up ahead of Justin Trudeau as now the #1 Canadian loved in Australia.
You sounded so shocked there, you're like, thanks.
Did you forget about our handsome Prime Minister?
Oh, but we can't forget about our handsome Winnipegian. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it one. We generally talk about hockey. We've got other Canadian things to talk about, apparently, that I don't even know about, so I'm looking forward to that. But as we do, let's talk hockey. Why not? We're down to the conference finals. And at the time of recording this, one game's happened. One game's, at the end of the second period. My Ducks made it through, yes, but we dropped the first game. And then in the second, they're playing the Nashville Predators, we should mention that. And in the other side of things, the East, we've got the reigning champs, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Ottawa Senators. What's your take on the Final Four here? I mean, you lost your Oilers, though, Colin.
Yeah, it's sad for most of this country that the Senators are our best hope now. They're kind of the perennial chokers in the playoffs, but I guess aside from when they made the Stanley Cup Finals and choke, this is the best they've done. And at this point, they're doing pretty well. We're, as you said, at the second intermission in the game. I don't think a lot of people are expecting much out of them against Pittsburgh, but I mean, Pittsburgh's been struggling with Sidney Crosby's 19th concussion and third case of the mumps that he has this year or whatever it is. So they're hit and miss too. It'll just be great to have a Canadian team. It would have been even better if the Oilers had won, to be able to say that half of the Canadian teams left in the playoffs, or half of the teams left were Canadian. That would have been much nicer. But I don't think I'm really that invested in Nashville against Anaheim. Despite the fact that as we were recording something else last night, we both had it on playing in the background. That's not invested for the playoffs.
You're Canadian. You've got to watch the hockey. That's just your thing.
Exactly, yeah. But between the two, I mean, the Ottawa and Pittsburgh's one is the one that I'm following more closely.
So is that going to be a case of you will go for whoever wins between Ottawa and Pittsburgh?
Pretty much, yeah. And I wouldn't mind. I don't think I've even brought it up yet, but I wouldn't mind if Anaheim won, just because, I mean, the coach, Randy Carlyle, I don't know if you know much of his history.
He won the Stanley
NHL.
Cup for us 10 years ago, I believe.
He did, and after he was fired from Anaheim, he ended up as a coach on the Leafs and led them to their last playoff spot. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for what he did on the Leafs a few years ago, but prior to that, he was one of the most famous Winnipeg Jets that we ever had here in Winnipeg. So Randy Carlyle's pretty much like still an icon here in the city. So the success for the Ducks means success for Carlisle, which means success for Winnipeg, which means we take credit if they win.
Well, the thing that is kind of interesting about the Ducks, which, you know, I'm somebody who kind of likes, I guess, patterns and coincidences, but, you know, it has been exactly 10 years this year since Anaheim won their one and only Stanley Cup. If they had to make it through to the finals, there's every chance it could just be a repeat of 10 years ago, because they beat Ottawa 10 years ago. So, I mean, we could have 2007 Ottawa versus Anaheim, 2017 Ottawa versus Anaheim. Is that something that even gets mentioned over there, or am I just being incredibly picky with the way I look at this?
You're the first one that's brought it up. I mean, I'm sure other people have, but I don't know if anybody's dug that deep into it yet. That would be kind of cool. I think right now what's getting the most attention is if Ottawa can do this. This is like their 25th season, at least of this version of the Ottawa Senators. And when you consider it was, I think, 25 years ago in their rookie season, or it might have been their second season, where they set the all-time worst season record with like the least amount of wins in NHL history. For them to go from that to having any success above all the other Canadian teams in the last 25 years, that would be a great story.
I was so disappointed. I mean, obviously, we talked about the fact that I think I wanted Pittsburgh gone. I think you kind of said that too. I mean, it would have been nice to see Washington get through. Obviously, they lost in Game 7. They choked yet again. But it would have been interesting if Washington had beaten Pittsburgh, because it would have been Washington versus Ottawa. It would have been Capital City versus Capital City. I mean, how would have that gone down?
You really do look for patterns.
I do, right?
None of this is being picked up on here. I mean, here we're all like, what plague is Sidney Crosby suffering from that's costing the Penguins their chance here? And you're like, I think that it's written in the stars because of this, and this.
I mean, I can't really find anything between Nashville and Anaheim, except for Nashville knocked us out last year in the first round, and also I think in the first round in 2011, I think it was. So Anaheim have never beaten Nashville in a series in the playoffs. But I mean, look, all jokes aside with Nashville, I mean, look, if Anaheim lose, I would be tempted to go for Nashville, because I think I mentioned I saw them live. I don't mind them. They're okay. And also the fact that if they're up against Pittsburgh, well, I want Pittsburgh to lose. If it was Nashville, Ottawa, I probably would go for Ottawa, because I need to go for the Canadian team there, I feel. I mean, as we've mentioned a few times now, it's been, 24, 25 years, 23 years since you guys have won the Stanley Cup. I mean, surely that's just that. Where's the National Enquirer into that? That's ridiculous.
But we can always lay claim to who on the American team that has no right having a team like Nashville can win the Stanley Cup, which this time amounts to yours and my favorite player, PK Subban.
Yes.
So if Nashville happens to win, we're going to say it's because of Canada still.
Yeah, well, of course. You've always got to lay claim to it. And I mean, next year, if Las Vegas end up winning it in their first year, I mean, how many Canadians are moving to Vegas right now? Have they even announced any of their players yet?
No, I did see today. I was trying to look for a new Senators shirt. Well, I guess my only Senators shirt. Which is funny, because as I was in the mall, my wife's like, "Oh, are you going to get your Oilers shirt?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "I thought you wanted an Oilers shirt." I'm like, "Well, the Oilers are out now. You can't." I mean, maybe it'll be discounted. That might help. But I was looking for a Senator shirt, and I did see the Las Vegas. They have their merchandise out already, and I was tempted to buy it. But I'll hold off and see if they get any good players first.
Yeah, well, there we go. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that, how that's going. Now, you said you've got some Canadian news for me, Colin. What's going on over there in Canada? Has something happened?
Well, I just sent you the link.
You did?
This is something I stumbled across the story, and I didn't realize this was as widespread as it is. This is something that just in my workplace we've been suffering from lately, and there's several animals that are kind of like national mascots, I guess you could say, like the beaver or a moose. And the Canada goose is, of course, one of the big ones. And this story, I love this, basically titled "Canada Geese Attacks Population."
It's got a lovely picture of a very angry-looking goose.
That's a nice-looking goose.
Really?
What I've been seeing the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And the story even says, "Can Canadians and Canada geese find peace?"
Been hissed at and chased quite a few times.
Yeah, well, this is what's going on. And if you read the story, it sounds like a parody article, but this is legitimately the biggest concern around my workplace right now. We work in this park. There's a bunch of different offices. It's a very nice area. There's a lot of man-made fountains and ponds and everything. But when everybody had the great idea when they're developing these new areas, let's put some man-made ponds in and some fountains. They didn't realize, well, the geese and the ducks and everything are going to come there. And as you get one of the first lines in the story, you get a lot of geese poop on the bottom of your shoes, so you try not to wear your nicest shoes around campus. This is happening around universities. They quote the University of Manitoba in this story. What's happening is that these geese are just finding their homes and they're laying eggs, And what happened in our workplace is that there's geese there all the time, and you just learn to walk through. And every once in a while, they hiss at you and they try charging at you. And I always find it funny because they will literally charge right at you, flapping their wings, and eventually just stop because they don't actually want to pick a fight.
Wow, sounds very Canadian.
Lately, I came into work one day and had somebody flashing me a picture of somebody walking in, one of the employees walking in the front door, and a goose flying right at their head, and them bending down, swatting a goose. Another story of somebody who came and pulled up to the front of the parking lot and saw these geese that were just hissing at everybody as they're coming in and out of the office, and decided they'd come out and try to shoo the geese away, only to basically be charged at and pushed into a bush. Geese are starting to attack. So there is an honest to God truth. There is a sign right on our front door of our office and on the door as you're exiting that says, "Beware aggressive geese in area." And this has become a big concern. And this is apparently happening everywhere. I mean, if you go through the story, they're saying Edmonton, Ottawa, Winnipeg. It's all over the place.
Wow. So like people talk up Australia like, oh yeah, you'll die by, spiders, sharks and snakes and just everything. Go to Canada, you get attacked by geese.
Yeah, exactly. This is the biggest concern right now. I mean, so low for our crime rates and our murder rates and everything, but the geese are going to be the ones that are going to kill you.
Are you allowed to kill the geese, or are they like these nationally protected species?
I honestly don't know, but I know there was a bit of an uproar a few years ago, and this is before the geese started attacking people or customers or anything else. But it all has to do with their eggs. They lay eggs, and if they happen to lay eggs close to where people are getting in and out of their cars or going in and out of their office, then they start to get overly protective. And there are mentions even in this article of places where they removed the eggs, and that's when the geese start getting aggressive. So I do know it's legal to remove the eggs. I don't know if there are any type of regulations, because if you read the story, there's an instance in here where at the University of Manitoba, somebody was destroying the eggs with baseball bats. So if there are rules or laws about that, I don't think it's being very strongly enforced.
What is it with Canadians and clubbing animals? Like, I mean, you're such a nice country, like, between geese eggs and baby seals. Like, stop it, Canada.
Well... Let me just... everybody's divided on the geese. You'll get people who say, oh, these geese are great. I think they're great. I think they're hilarious. And my wife in the background just said, with no change in her expression, I hate them. They should die. They're demons. So they're kind of scaring some people. But there are ways to protect yourself. The final thing in this article here says goose nest etiquette. It gives advice on what you should do, which is maintain direct eye contact and keep your chest and face pointed at the goose. If the goose acts aggressively, calmly and slowly back away. Try not to trip into bushes, I guess. And then finally, don't act hostile or show fear.
I love that last one. Like, okay, sure, this like goose is coming at me. Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm Canadian. I'm walking down the street.
Yeah, that's right.
This person here, what's their last name? Leaf Floor? Give them wide berth. They're not trifling birds. They can go 10 to 12 pounds. They can be very aggressive when they're defending a nest. Has anyone ever died from a goose attack?
I'm sure if they have, it's not making national news because they want to protect the eggs from baseball bats. If it ever happened, then we should be taking the baseball bats to the geese.
Yes.
I mean, I'm all for saving the animals, but if they start killing people, let's defend our territory here.
Well, that was like when, I remember when Steve Irwin died, like the week after, like they literally found all these beaches in Queensland, the state where he got killed by the stingray, all these dead stingrays with their like stingers chopped off, just dead on beaches in Queensland. It was like revenge attack by humans against stingrays.
I did a quick search on killed by goose, and everything that comes up is about living in Canada. The first thing it says, can angry Canada goose kill you? It says no, geese cannot kill you outright. They can, however, do some considerable bruising, and their bites can slash your skin, especially when they deliver it with a hard twist. So there's a technique to it.
That's a very sure article. Like, I kind of think that if a goose came running at you, right, like, and it was like, rah, 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 and you're like, not acting calm and whatever that article said, and you like trip and hit your head and die, or, fall into the path of oncoming traffic and die, technically that's death by goose, is it not?
Yeah. And technically, that goose is going to stand trial for the murder.
I think I looked at once, like, has anyone ever died by a kangaroo? Because, like, kangaroos can savagely attack you. And I think, like, there was a case in, I think, 1940s sometime where a kangaroo, like, did something that led to the death of a person. So they basically said a kangaroo has not killed an Australian directly since, like, the 1940s. But it's still kind of like, at least in Australia, we're kind of like, yeah, they probably could kill you, but we just don't say they can. Whereas Canada, oh no way, they cannot kill you at all.
I don't condone cockfighting or any of that, but in a way, wouldn't it be fun if every country in the world put up their deadliest animal and we just saw who came out on top, and we saw kangaroos versus Canada geese in round one?
No. We know that it wouldn't be kangaroos versus wild geese. It would be Russell Crowe versus wild geese. They would just shove him in a cage. Get in there, Russell. Are you not entertained?
Yeah, that's what we want to see. That'll be the next playoff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we look forward to finding out within the next week where we talk to you, probably for the last time in at least 7 weeks, unless I find time to talk to you on the road, whether or not any Canadians have died by geese in the next week or not. So, Colin Hilding.
If any of the Senators, or PK Subban drops dead.
Yes. Thank you for your time on the show once again.
You're welcome.
I want to bring you another classic interview this week. We did that with Sam Pang last week, and we haven't done this in a while, so we thought 2 in a row. Why not? We're not bringing you This Is News, much to the much groans of everybody out there. That's, I can't even speak how other people sound, but we'll bring you it again. We'll never forget about it, of course. We'll probably just take another 6 weeks in between hand. But this is our chat back in 2014. I'm reading my notes here correctly, right, Ben? Nathan Walker, who you might not even know who that is, but basically Nathan Walker, the very first Australian to ever be drafted by an NHL club, and of course he was done so by the Washington Capitals, and I do believe it was after this interview. He hasn't played a game yet for the Capitals. He's on their roster, but has been playing in the minor leagues, and hopefully will become at some point, maybe in the next season or two, who knows, the very first Australian to ever play in the National Hockey League, the peak of ice hockey in the world. And to me, this is a very big deal. This is not just because I'm a huge ice hockey fan, but when it comes down to it, Jared Hayne got a lot of attention in the last few years when he got drafted into the NFL, and, it was great, fantastic, yay, look at this guy. Australians have played in the NFL before, just like Australians have played in the NBA before, and Australians have played in the baseball in the US before as well. No Australian ever played in the NHL, and the biggest thing about this is a ice sport, ice hockey. So for the fact that an Australian who can go from a country where I think there's about 20 or 30 rinks in this entire land to go play in the number one ice hockey competition on this planet, to me that is a much bigger deal than Jared Hayne making the NFL. So still hasn't played that game yet. Fingers crossed he will. But this is back in 2014, my chat with Australia's first ever NHL draftee, Nathan Walker. Nathan Walker is an Australian ice hockey player who is on the cusp of becoming the very first Australian to ever play in the NHL. I spoke to Nathan about what this would mean to him should he make it, and the prospects of coming down here to Tassie and trying out our ice rink. Nathan, welcome to the Brink and Edge Radio.
Hey, how you doing?
Going very well, mate. Going very well here. Very excited to chat to you today because, as I just sort of mentioned, you're on the cusp of making it into the NHL. Of course, this is the biggest ice hockey league in the entire world. No Australian has ever played in the NHL. I mean, was this always a dream for you to perhaps one day make it into the NHL?
Yeah, it was. It's definitely been the main goal since I first left home and try to become a hockey player. It was definitely the main goal is to one day eventually make the NHL.
So for yourself, though, what was the idea behind playing ice hockey? When did you decide to play this sport, which really in Australia obviously isn't played as much as it is in other places in the world?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird story, I guess. If you've heard of the movie Mighty Ducks, and it's all about ice hockey and a bunch of kids making a team and playing for their town or whatever. And then whenever I saw that, it pretty much hooked me, and then after I watched that movie, I wanted to play hockey.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, a lot of people in this country kind of discovered the sport. I know I was one, for example, who discovered the sport watching that movie, but I suppose you did the thing that some people didn't. You actually went out and played it. How was it trying to find places where you grew up, trying to actually be able to play the sport instead of just watching it?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a different sport in itself. It's not the same as obviously not the same as soccer or rugby. So the fact that's a little different, I think that's what I what I liked about it too.
So when you started playing, you started obviously getting quite successful in it. You eventually go over to Europe to further your career. I mean, what made you choose going to Europe instead of perhaps going to North America to pursue your career?
There was a couple of people I knew in Czech Republic that could set me up with a tryout, which made it a little easier on myself to leave home and go there. So that was probably the main reason that I went to Europe instead of straight away to North America.
And how is it going over there as an Australian? Do they look at you differently going, oh, where are you from? You don't usually play ice hockey in that country. Is it kind of a case you have to prove yourself before you really try and get a bit more successful in the sport?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, everyone's got to prove something. So I guess in that sense, yes, but also in a sense again that they probably do have in the back of their mind, this guy is Australian, so we might have to look at him a little closer and analyze him a little bit more than we would the Americans and Canadians.
Well, after your time there in the Czech Republic, you slowly started to, of course, catch the eye of the NHL, the scouting bureau. I mean, when you first hear that you're getting recognised by these guys, how is that feeling, knowing that you're kind of getting closer and closer to perhaps landing in the NHL one day?
Yeah, it was really big when I they would started to talk to me and interview me about different things. It kind of set to my mind, that I could be able to play in the NHL one day, and I just got to keep pursuing it and keep trying my best, and hopefully if it all works out, then it works out. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
So what was it like competing in the NHL entry draft last year, and then of course going on to train with the Washington Capitals?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a really good experience to just be in the same room with professional ice hockey players and see the ins and outs of what it is like to be a pro hockey player, and it was an awesome experience for me, and I just hope I got many more of them to come.
Do you sort of go into that expecting to get anything out of it? Because I mean, kind of a small rule prevented you from ultimately being chosen into the NHL last year. I mean, do you sort of leave that with a lot more experience than you previously had that you can then use now in your ice hockey career?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can. Yeah, for sure. I can take a lot out of those camps and. Come home knowing that I've learned a lot, and hopefully I can just keep learning, and hopefully for the next year I can just be able to get better and better.
And then you went to play, of course, with the Hershey Bears in the American Hockey League. How was that experience? And obviously comparing that to your time in the Czech Republic, is it varying kind of how the styles of hockey in the different leagues?
No. To me they're totally different. One's one's a little bit more fast paced and physical, and the other one's a bit more of a slower game, but by any means they're both great leagues. But yeah, it's just a little bit different hockey, I feel like.
And the 2014 NHL draft is coming up. I mean, what are the chances for this, Nathan? Is this something that you ultimately are going to be selected for? You haven't heard from yet. I mean, kind of what's the process involved with this now?
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I haven't really spoken to anyone about it, so I'll just have to wait and see how all that goes.
We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed with that. I mean, outside of the NHL prospects, you've also, of course, represented Australia on several occasions. It must always be a pretty amazing experience to pull on the green and gold for the Mighty Roos and play for your country, of course.
Yeah, it's always a very good thing to do is play for your country. So yeah, we played 1 year in Melbourne, and then the year after that we played a tournament in Poland.
Do you feel as though the sport in this country is starting to get more recognised? I mean, the AIHL is doing great guns in terms of finally getting on TV. It's getting a strong vocal supporter base out there. I mean, do you really feel as though ice hockey is growing every day in this country?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think since 2010 we have 40% more people playing ice hockey. So, I mean, it's definitely growing, and we're definitely doing the right things, but at the end of the day, it is Australia, and it's not known for ice hockey. We're known for playing rugby and soccer and surfing, so, it's going to be as normal for a kid to get a football and kick that around for a few hours, then him, strap on some skates and go hit a puck around. So I think it's just the mentality of Australians as well. It's kind of tough to persuade them to get involved in hockey.
Well, a lot of Australians got behind last year these exhibition international matches between the USA and Canada. We're about to see these all again. They've extended the series, and yourself, Nathan, you're playing for the USA in this series. I mean, what's it going to be like, kind of representing the USA now, but playing in front of your home crowd?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be one of a kind, I think. it's definitely going to be something a little different.
I mean, is it kind of a case of too when you're out there to have a bit of fun? Because I mean, obviously the games, you know, they're here to showcase the sport in this country, whilst also having a little bit of fun. I mean, you obviously get to play alongside some pretty decent NHL players too. So, can you take a lot of experience out of this? Expecting to get a lot of experience out of these games?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, but like you said, there's going to be a bunch of NHL players playing, which is going to be awesome. You know, it's going to be high quality players, and I'm probably going to learn a lot from them.
What team, when you were growing up, did you support in the NHL? Did you kind of go on to the Anaheim Ducks after the Mighty Ducks movies?
No, I can't really say. I don't really know supporting any teams in general. Just probably players I like to look out for.
Who was your favourite player growing up?
Probably Zach Parise. Just the way he works. He's got a really high work ethic. And I admire that a lot in people.
Now, you also came very close. You were mentioning rugby before growing up. You played with the Cronulla Sharks junior team. Could we have seen you perhaps in the NRL had you not pursued ice hockey the way you did?
I mean, yeah, I might have given it a crack. Yeah, if I didn't take on ice hockey, I probably would have stayed playing rugby.
Did you stay as a Sharks fan? Do you go for another team at all in the competition?
No, not really. I don't. I can't say it's something I'd be itching to watch on the weekend. But I mean, if the rugby game's on TV, then yeah, sure, I'll throw it on.
We'll stick to the ice hockey. Now, Australians sort of have had some major success in North American sports, NFL, NBA, MLB. I mean, just sort of looking into the future, Nathan, if that day comes that you do get drafted in the NHL, I mean, will that be sort of the highlight of your career, being the very first Australian to play in this league?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but you know, to me, at the end of the day, it's another player playing in the NHL. There's another 500 guys that are doing it. So at the end of the day, I'm just another player playing there. So to me, it's not that big of a deal if it happens or if it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to be another player with some skates on and trying to get a puck in the net.
Well, definitely, if you ever get the chance to, come down here to Tassie, because we've got our one ice skating rink in this entire state. Tuesday nights, when we're recording this, I'm about to actually head off and commentate on it. We have 4 teams playing it. We have 50 players in this entire state, Nathan, playing it. And the rink is probably the size of your living room. It is tiny, but I'm sure you'd probably look at it and think, what the hell is going on?
We all got to have one rink somewhere, right?
Yes, exactly. Nathan, best of luck for everything that comes your way in the future, mate. Really sincerely hope that you do make it into the NHL and do Australia proud. Good luck in the exhibition series next month against Canada, and really appreciate your time here on the Brink and Edge Radio today.
Cheers, thank you, appreciate it.
Alrighty, folks, we're out of here. Episode 25 is in the books. We'll be back next week for episode 26. It'll be our last episode before I'm on the road again for 7 weeks. So a few of our regulars you'll probably hear for the last time in some time. We might still catch up with them while I'm there on the road. And, of course, we're filming the Brink Unleashed 7. That, of course, is Brink Unleashed a Legacy, so get excited for that one. And on our Facebook page, we're posting a little bit more in terms of just the Legacy section of that throughout the week, kind of celebrating the history of the franchise. So stay tuned to that if you're one of the 2 fans who have ever watched one of those films across the years. And as I mentioned, I believe last week too, one of the events I will be attending across in the US is an event called Reality for Diabetes. It is an event to raise funds for the JDRF and juvenile diabetes research. Very worthy cause. And my aim is to make $250, basically at minimum. I can of course make more. And we would sincerely love for you to donate any money towards that. If you want more details, head to our Facebook page, or you can also head to our sister show, the Oz Network's Facebook page and website, and there's more details there of how you can donate. It can be anything from $1 to $1 million, or even more than $1 million. If you've got that amount of money, great. Please donate it. They would sincerely love that for sure. But very much a worthy cause there. Help it out. It would be very much appreciated. Big thanks to everybody who's listened to this episode. Big thanks also to Whooshka, our podcast server. If you want a podcast, go to Whooshka, because they're great. They certainly are fantastic and provide you with a great facility there to host your podcast. So please check them out. But as I said, we'll be back next week, episode 26. Thank you to everybody who was on this show today. Paul, Dakoda, Colin and Nick, and to all our classic guests across the way. Until next week, Hobart, please do keep sucking those oranges, and good night.